If I was building and ranking a website in the immigration law space, if I needed to generate leads in this space, this is what I would do. Now, I was presented with this website and my job was to identify why the crazy traffic loss, pretty much dead since 2023. The next step was, what do we need to do to get more leads? A lot of the time people find me and they want me to rank them at the top of Google. In other words, they want to be found. They want inquiries. They want people to find them that want what they sell. This is important because you can get a lot of traffic, but that traffic might be useless. So all that matters are the inquiries at the end of the month, quarter, year on year, look back. Sometimes it's not as clear. So the first thing I did is I dissected this particular website that I am not sharing. I look at hundreds of websites in this particular situation. Now, first thing is first is the immigration law space is incredibly competitive because not only are you up against immigration agents, you're up against other lawyers, of course, which is competitive on its own, but you're also up against government websites that are dominating and ranking for our desirable key terms because everything in this space is getting traffic, getting attention from somewhere. Now, in this space, I looked at where they are. They are in the CBD of a major city. So in terms of ranking on Google Maps, it's not only is it Russian roulette, but we also have a crazy cost of entry to market just by the average amount of Google reviews needed. These are just the top 3 that are appearing in Melbourne or Sydney or other major cities. There are 10, if not more, 20 other businesses that have over 100 5-star reviews. Now, that's sustainable and doable for you can't see anything because my big head's in the way. That's sustainable and doable for a larger firm with multi-partners, with multi-office locations, with lots of employees. Not so sustainable with a sole operator, which is where I'm really careful to sell any kind of growth and marketing services in spaces where there are big competitors, mortgage brokers, accountants, financial advisors, where we're up against monster sites with multi-locations, multi-offices in all major cities. But I won't dwell on that. I will jump to this and explain what I very quickly found. I found that the old site, surprisingly, was doing better. The old site had more unique content. The old site had more pages talking about services. My understanding is there was some kind of SEO campaign back in the day done, but what ended up happening was it was just a DIY. They brought it in-house and it was someone's job to just figure out the marketing. So honestly, this is not to say someone's mistake, it's just that this space is super competitive. So even if you look at this website, yes, it is old, yes, it is lifeless, yes, it needs to be rebuilt, but the fact that we're just in such a difficult and competitive space, and I'm about to share how competitive further down, this is normal. Yeah. So one of the things I did find is a lot of the pages on this website had duplicate, I don't want to say plagiarized content, but essentially content that came from the government immigration website that was also loaded on probably hundreds of other websites talking about that particular visa. So where a lot of text was just copied and pasted to be quoting the law, but without any kind of, accreditation, citation, where the content was taken. In other words, a canonical to tell Google, hey, this is the legislation which was taken from this website. So what ended up happening was, over time, Google's seeing a big percentage of the text on this website to be more or less duplicated and not necessary, not even flavored anyway. How are you going to flavor legal immigration legislation? But there are ways that you can display it, mixing it with other text and explaining like your opinion and what you'd go about doing that. So that's one of the major things that I found that needs to be fixed. There's a whole bunch of errors, 404 pages, dead links, whole bunch of on page. The site needs to go. The site needs to be rebuilt. Now, one of the things that I do from there is I understand the chunk of the pie, okay? The first place that I do that in is I log into Google Ad Keyword Planner, which is a free tool, and I type in immigration lawyer. And we have here $16 a click. No chance it is that cheap. Absolutely no chance. From $4 or $5 to $16 a click, I believe that is a huge lie. I've been running Google Ads for a long time, more than 20 mil spent, quite comfortably more. What this is telling me is that Google is incentivizing us to bid on these key terms, which I believe if we simply bid on the term immigration lawyer in brackets, I reckon it's going to be $50 a click and upwards. So commonly I see Google just basically lie because they know that when people fire up an ad for this key term, they're going to fire up 20, 30 different variations for that term, which might spend money on terms like free immigration lawyer or immigration lawyer job description. And because of that, the average cost per click drops to $4 or $5 a click. So the reason this is important is it's telling me that, wow, look at the chunk of the pie. There's a lot of demand. That helps me show the client what their potential profit could be if we were to pick up 10 of those inquiries, 30 of those inquiries. What if it's 1 in 3 to convert? So one of the things that I actually play around with is a calculator of leads. And I do this with a lot of clients as I say, right, if we receive 50 leads and let's hypothetically say 10% or 20% of those leads convert, what's the average order value of your services? I'm just going to make up a figure, $5,000. Let's say the profit is 30%, 20%. You know, what's it going to cost to break even? We'll need to spend more than 20 grand to break even, but let's drop the average order value. Music lessons, or it might be a local gym, which is about 1,500. To break even on the marketing is 14 grand, right? So if we bring in 50 leads, I know the local gym closes leads quite high at 40% upwards. Average order value of the life of that client is about 1,500. I know the profits are a little bit higher. Even at 20 grand given to marketing, it's not even breaking even. So to throw 5, 6K at marketing, happy days. This is important because if these numbers don't add up, a lot of the time it's not sensible to run SEO campaigns or digital marketing campaigns. This needs to be resolved first. Now, not to say that digital marketing campaigns are positively geared, SEO definitely isn't, and a lot of the time Google Ads definitely isn't. In a lot of spaces that I run Google Ads in, the cost per lead is so high that the first job that they receive, for example, a pest controller or a locksmith, not positively geared. But it's when they leave the magnet on the fridge, that plumber, the electrician, happy days, smiling faces, people come back, people refer. If you do good work, people buy from people, people like people, people will refer you to people at the barbecue. That's what we're aiming to achieve. Now, I show this and this gives me some ideas on which keywords we want to be targeting. If I was to fire up a Google ad, what sort of budgets we need to play with and what sort of landing pages we need to build. I then look at the SEO variations of each key term. Now, these are just some quick screenshots from SEMrush. One of the things that I do is I make a monster of a list of all of our desirable keywords, and I break up that list into commercial, informational, top of funnel, middle of funnel, intent. So for example, the word immigration lawyer nationally gets searched 70,000 times with 16,000 unique variations of the way that word is used. So obviously a lot of these initial ones have commercial intent, immigration lawyer Sydney, meaning I am looking for an immigration lawyer in Sydney. But do immigration lawyers go to court is more of an informational query. That might be a social media clip that you might record. That social media clip goes into YouTube Short. That might be a little FAQ you might answer on the website. That might be a blog. What do immigration lawyers do? These days, and as someone that's been smashing top of funnel content for more than 10 years, a lot of these things don't even see the light of Google anymore. If you're a startup lawyer in this space and you create the world's best blog on this space, chances are Google might not even index it these days, unless you put this crazy flavor on this. But what I would do is record a video on this particular topic, on these topics. I don't want to get sidetracked too much, but basically I pull all of these 433 questions. They get put into clusters, they get grouped, and then I give the client homework of videos to record. Sometimes I go and actually set up the cameras and record them for them, or it goes into the writing team for bloggers and guides to create blog content for the website. Immigration attorney, 16,000 unique searches. Skilled visa. So now we're going after the individual sort of potential keywords. 85,000. So we're simply assessing the chunk of the pie. We're diving under the industry. Now under this screenshot are competitors, and each of those competitors I will click into, I will deconstruct them, and this takes time. And sure, I'm equipped with all of the best SEO tools in the world, Ahrefs, SEMrush. This stuff just takes time to dissect and properly organize. These were some of the high intent keywords that I found that I would like to target if I was to build a website in the space. And these are some of the monster competitors that we're up against. And one of the first things I look at is how many citations they're getting from AI. Now, this is not accurate at this stage. Every month it changes. The way this is calculated changes. Every SEO tool has a different way, but I just pay attention to the general number. Now, as someone that has hundreds of sites myself, I can see the difference between a site that has had the content rewritten in a particular manner to incentivize and influence ChatGPT and AI to display my sites. A lot of my sites I've ran tests on. Old school way of blogging and creating content, no citations. New school way of doing it, things are skimmable, flavored, jokes, table of contents, just dot points, numbered lists, too long didn't read, audio, video, interlinking, external linking, citations, best listicle posts, bang, this stuff goes through the roof. But this tells me that the way they go about making their content is updated. They're considered a high authority. Now, you don't get 34,000 organic visitors a month in less than 5 years without some serious SEO behind this. But it's not just SEO, it's a serious brand, a company that's taking their brand seriously. And I'll show you the website in just a second. I had no idea who they are, I have no association with them. I just simply found them because they are on page 1 of Google. They're in top position. And naturally, one of the things that I do all day, every day, is I understand and study how Google and why Google chooses those sites over mine, or over competitors, or why some sites go up and others don't. Now, one of the biggest things that I pay attention to is the velocity of backlinks, how many new backlinks are hitting each month, and the type of backlinks. So I'm seeing 33, domain rating and URL rating 13, a little bit of a discrepancy there. Those numbers generally move up at the same time. I can see their traffic increase, and I can see the sheer amount of paid traffic. So if we just humor the situation, how much was each click if we were to bid and pay Google? It was $16 a click. These guys are receiving 1,100 click traffic from Google Ads. Now, Ahrefs have some horrible Google Ads data, but it is a little bit of a metric, okay? It is heavily underplayed here because they don't have all the data. Now, I did a little bit of math. So Google Ads traffic, if it's 1,100 clicks per month at $16 a click, which we know is the wrong figure, it's likely a lot higher, we're sitting at $18,000 spent each month to Google Ads, right? So there is some kind of Google ad campaign active. Now, the way I've seen it work is when you pay money to Google, when you fire up a Google ad, you actually rank higher. I know that it's a myth, but if you think about it, you pay money to Google, it's not so much, oh, they're paying us money, let's rank them higher. You receive more traffic. That traffic then interacts with your website, spends time on your website, and that traffic might come back to your website. The way Google and the search engines estimate who goes up and who goes down is they track behaviors. If there are visitors looking for your brand, jumping onto your website, spending time on your website, inquiring, seeing videos, reading things, that is an engagement signal that then Google looks at, compares you to the competitor number 2, ranks you higher, ranks you lower. So running $18,000 worth of Google Ads traffic, receiving an additional 1,100 organic clicks per month will have some kind of a splashback of visitors coming back to that website. So it's not to say that this spend helps you rank higher, it's this spend sends visitors to your website who are likely to hang around and come back to your website. That helps you rank higher. Now, I also did the numbers on backlinks. Now, this is just a made up figure because in that list of backlinks are backlinks that could be completely free, backlinks that are spammy, backlinks that we don't want. But a lot of those backlinks money couldn't buy. And I'll show you in just a second what I mean by that is. But on average, I estimated about 220,000 USD worth of backlinks if I was to go out and pay for them in the sources that I know. Now, not to say that all backlinks are paid for. Time is generally money. But what I found is on their site, and this is just a good segue to just have a look at the site, and much respect to the agency that did it. If you guys see this, awesome work. Once again, I've got no connection. I just found this website. One, it's using a very common lead gen layout where you have your form straight up. These guys must be well known enough. They have the awards, they have the recognitions to be like, yeah, we know why you're here. We are immigration lawyers, ranked number 1, get in touch. Simple as that. No, not much trust building is needed. They've already built the trust elsewhere. They've got a big photo of the team. I reckon these are individual photos that we'll just Photoshop together. Awesome work, real people. You can see who you're going to be dealing with. Now, one of the things that I discovered was that this gentleman over here is also a writer for a whole bunch of other publications. How do I know this? One of the things that I pay attention to when I'm looking at Ahrefs is where the backlinks are coming from. So if I click backlinks, we can see here, this helps me understand cost of entry to market. Bestlawyers.com. But there were Australian top 10 lawyers weekly. No, there were basically articles, meet the team, or publications. Where was it? News and updates, media. Here it is. So these are Sydney Morning Herald, The Diplomat, South China Morning Post. These are quite serious websites. And Perry Q. Woodman is one of the authors, whether he's a guest post or whatnot. This is huge because this delivers backlinks that a lot of the time money cannot buy. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. Money buys a lot of things, and there is a link building method called HARO, which is help a reporter out. And this is how a lot of people build backlinks only. They pay reporters, they send them information, and they get links. But it's hard to beat organically with something like this. So these are all articles that have been live for a while that are all sending SEO juice to the main site, which is this site in general. So once again, a backlink is like a handshake between two sites. Google sees backlinks as a source of trust, as a metric of trust. But if we click through this website, it's a good looking website, but it's following standard SEO on-page protocols. You have the titles, you have the descriptions. You have, one of the things that I do is I actually throw this site and all my sites into Screaming Frog, reports back with 871 HTML pages. It lets me easily inspect all of the blogs, all of the pages. I can see they have pages in different languages, in Chinese, in Spanish. I can see the clusters of content that they've created. I can see the way this website is put together. And this basically helps me understand, okay, here's a very serious competitor. Here's competitor number 2, competitor number 3. And after a few hours, I know what kind of website I need to build. Now, we don't need to copy them. We just, immigration lawyer, more or less, has the same services. They offer visa services, they offer student visas, etc. But this helps me understand what kind of websites are ranking at the top. I'll export these pages, I'll pay attention to these pages, similar to looking at how a house is constructed. As the builder's building the house, you're across the road seeing that, okay, there's an extra brick going up today. Same as this. Screaming Frog is a great tool to do that. So if I'm just to complement this site and what I believe they're doing really well, real faces, a lot of EAT signals: experience, expertise, trust and authority, about us, real photos of the team, profiles of the team, links to LinkedIn, diplomas, qualifications, what areas of interest. This is beautiful. Look at that, SEO pages are linked in the footer. Migration lawyers Adelaide, migration lawyers Brisbane. This is SEO in a nutshell. We've got it looks a little bit spammy, but hey, it works because on every single page, there's a link to every single one of the pages. So kudos to the SEOs or the in-house devs, whoever's managing the website. Awesome work. If I keep going down the page, here are the things that I pay attention to. So that's these guys. I look at their top performing keywords. I already know what keywords I want to rank for, but it's just interesting to me to understand which keywords bring them the most traffic. This helps me understand if there are any gaps, keyword gaps that we want, these guys dominate. Maybe we won't rank for this keyword, but maybe there is another keyword that we can go after, something with a bit more of a realistic AD, right? KD 40, KD 64. We're not going to rank for that. Form 888 sounds like that's a form that's probably dominated by the Australian government website, but here we go. 186 visa processing time. That could be an interesting one. Keyword difficulty of 12. S56 keyword difficulty of 0. If we have the right intent here, if this is a commercial intent, it's informational, but we might create an article to rank for S56. I'm not sure what that is. News and updates, S56, request for information, how to respond. You can see all of the pages that they've created. I call these bottom of funnel pages that are answering specific questions on these terms. I love this one. They made a page on how to log into your Australian government IMI account. It's all it is just go to the Australian government website and log in. I love this. You know, what is an IMI account? A guide to using an IMI account. IMI account is just your immigration account for visa applications. Just click here and log in. Awesome work. Mwah. Love this. So if I keep chipping away, I then pay attention to the most traffic pages. Once again, Ahrefs is a third-party tool that guesstimates. This isn't someone's private data. This is just a calculation of the potential traffic this website is getting. And when I look at the top 20 of these sites, I get the gist of what kind of site I need to build. So their top traffic page is their homepage. A lot of the time, that is the case. Partner visas is their second. Things go up, things go down, and then a whole bunch of guides and blogs. Awesome work. I look at competitor number 2 and 3. These guys over here, not bad. 30,000 organic visitors a month. Something happened. These guys are on par with them. Now, what on earth happened somewhere between March and December 2025? If I have time, I'll go through it and understand it. They're not showing up in AI search as much. Still a lot of backlinks hitting the site. Maybe there was some kind of domain migration. Maybe there was a domain rebuild. Maybe, because look at this. The amount of pages, overall pages, has dropped. So the amount of unique keywords they are showing up for has dropped, but the traffic has gone up. Sounds like some kind of cleanup potentially happened. This is what I refer to as a trim, a cleanup of the site. I'm not going to inspect it live, but yeah, how to create an IMI account in Australia. They're doing the same little tactic, which is like an accounting website, a bookkeeping website, creating a guide on how to log into Xero. A bit of a hack to get traffic, not necessarily the right traffic, but if you think about it, anyone landing on that page potentially needs help with a visa. Anyone landing on that page can get a tracker pixel. Anyone landing on that page will probably see a Facebook ad from these guys. Very smart. I love this. And then there was a competitor, I think it was in the same building. So big elephant in the room here, when I'm looking at a business in any CBD space where you have a tall building with 30 other lawyers, only one of them will be displayed in that pin, because the way in the 3-pack that is, because the way the 3-pack works, a lot of the time it'll find someone in the heart of that CBD, and then it'll find someone on the inner suburbs. Very rarely will it pick someone further out, but it all depends on where you search from. So based on all of this, if I was to build I had a look at their social media, I had a look at the videos. These guys have embraced videos, good on them. They're doing everything right. So that's the flagship, the website to look at. I then started to plan out the kind of pages that I would build and what kind of key terms each page would target, what kind of blogs I would construct. So basically now we have a bit of a game plan. Can you guys still see it? Yes, you can. We want to build these pages for family visas. This is how I would do it. If we were in Melbourne, this is only a single location, hypothetically, it would be family visas / partner visa lawyer Melbourne. Shoot me, might not be perfect, but this is what I would try. And this is why I have so many different sites in the same space, because I just test and learn. Some might say, oh, we don't need to have Melbourne in there because we'll just put Melbourne in the H1 title. True, that's how it should be in theory. But what I'm seeing work right now is AI is just paying attention to the permalink, disregarding a lot of other stuff. And if it's in the permalink, if it's in the H1, if it's in the SEO title, it'll trust you. That's just what I'm seeing work right now, end of 2025. Citizenship lawyer, skilled visa. So you have one hub page, these are hub pages, and then you have your individual bottom of funnel, skilled migration lawyer Melbourne, 189 visa lawyer Melbourne, 419, right? Employer sponsored visas. This is just a cutback version. If you remember, that competitor number 1 had more than 800 pages. Now we don't need to use Screaming Frog to see their pages, because you think, oh, this guy's doing something that's dodgy. If you go to Google and you type in, Google's listening to me, site, semicolon, any domain, here it is. Apparently 4,700 results. What is going on? I can see what's going on. It's translated. TW, right? What language is that? Is that Spanish? Is it Argentinian? This site it just keeps giving. Love it. If we keep going through this, French. We're in French now. That makes perfect sense. So it's not translating it live and feeding it to you. The doggy's gonna go outside. Its own page. It's a French section. This is a monster of a site. Much respect. Here we go. If we change this to Español, bang, we go to the ES. Now these are all unique pages. They're all indexed. It's not like it's a dynamic page that gets generated then and there. Anyway, my doggy's gonna go outside. I think you guys get the gist. I will leave these in my post so you can see the kind of pages that I would build initially. This is a foundational website, right? Be prepared to be up against some serious competitors in this space. Everything is a cost of entry to market. Not to say that you wouldn't do digital marketing. You just chip away at more sensible tasks depending on how much free time you have. If you're a startup and you have extra free time, I would concentrate on a real brand, social profiles, and delivering value. Talking about your previous and current success stories, your challenges, just deliver value online. And as long as you publish and syndicate to YouTube Shorts, social media, the transcript are getting picked up by AI. That should go onto your website as a blog or a page. At the very minimum, if you're an immigration lawyer, you need these pages or variations of these pages, right? Even if it's just one page that's family visa lawyer Melbourne, and make sure all of these key terms are in it. My dogs need to go for walkies. It is hot. Hope that helps. Let me know if you have any questions. So SEO will work, local SEO will work, Google ad will work, expensive. Probably Facebook ads will work. I just haven't deconstructed. I just saw a whole bunch of pixel retargeting ads. So it means someone's landed on the website and they're being retargeted to. Hope that helps.